Surely I can't be the only one that's ever wondered why some relationships are a match made in heaven and others feel like a constant struggle, or why some people walk effortlessly into fulfilling relationships while others tend to cycle through this pattern of high and low lows. I realize that there's often a disconnect in understanding why this happens. And today, I really want to bridge the gap for anybody who is struggling in your own relationship. For those who haven't been taught by me before, I love to bridge the gap and show the overlap where physical meets metaphysical, because our worlds interconnect so congruently. And I just love it when we can mix spirituality with science, because science has finally caught up. That's the tea. So this is for you if you're navigating some rocky waters in your relationship, or if you're healing for a breakup, or if you're wondering where the fuck you're going wrong in relationships. And this will also help you understand why you and your partner might be dominating in your relationship. And if that is you, kudos, my love. I am fucking living for it. Now, imagine that you're deeply in love, and like I'm sure so many of us can relate to, something just feels a little off, or maybe you guys are just not speaking the same love language, or the same emotional language. And spiritually, you're aware, so you don't really want to be pointing the fingers at anyone, and so it ends up taking you down this rabbit hole of self-discovery and healing, which is kind of normal right now. Now, stay with me because some of you guys might fall off the bandwagon here, but you need to hear this. In physics, this fine tuning is related to the law of resonance. Now, the law of resonance states that in order for two objects to resonate with one another, they actually have to match each other's vibrations. Spiritually, it's like the law of attraction, where you attract what you are. Both laws speak and point out such profound truths that essentially your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner world, whether you are conscious of that or not. When these spiritual practitioners, like myself, talk about letting go, healing, and recognizing that which no longer serves you, what we're really essentially telling you to do is recognize the parts of you that are vibrating at a lower frequency to you. Okay, but how do you know what that is? Well, it's going to be painful, or it's going to feel lonely. It's going to feel like, it could look like resentment, anger, abandonment. It could look like loneliness, isolation. It could look like all of these things that make you feel uncomfortable, like they're just not making you happy. And if it's not making you happy, it means that it is resonating at a lower frequency. And some people feel happy when they're on their own. Yes, there is like this sense of peace, but if you are feeling lonely and or isolated, that is when you've taken being on your own to an extreme, where you are actually, your heart and your soul and your mind is craving connection. And we're here on earth to learn about all the different ways that relationships truly fulfill us, even if that's not on a romantic level, on a friendship level. This is like what we're here on earth to learn, which is why relationships are such a huge lesson for all of us collectively. The unfortunate truth is that so many people are not proactive in like looking internally. They're actually reactive. So they wait until they are experiencing extreme pain before actually looking at themselves internally and shifting things as they go. You will typically find that a healer that is well prepared is typically being proactive about their healing journey, or they're setting themselves up for success, that they understand the ebbs and flows that they're going through, that they are going to make sure that they are navigating their way with minimal interruption, or minimal bumpy roads. And that sometimes it's inevitable, that for us, especially as practitioners, sometimes it's inevitable us to avoid the bumpy roads, because it's the bumpy roads that actually help us understand and empathize with our clients on such a deeper level. Once you figure out, though, why the pain is there, and you start to heal it. This process is the process of letting go. So when people are not sure, like, how do I let go? This is how you're letting go. You're healing this part, or you're recognizing this part within yourself that no longer serves you. Letting go of these lower vibrational frequency really elevates your frequency and your vibration. Why? Because you're not having that dense energy holding us back. We're actually letting it go so that we can raise and rise to a much higher frequency. Now, it's in that higher frequency that we actually have new possibilities. We have a new mindset. We have this new vibe about us, and people notice the new vibes, okay? People notice. And here's where it gets interesting, because as you change, the people around you actually get the opportunity to change within themselves. So the universe is almost saying to them, hey, listen, here's an opportunity for you to rise. Would you like to rise and meet your friend where they're at? Or the universe will, if by their own chances that they decide no, they'll simply fall away. Now, it's nothing personal. It's simply the law of attraction, or, if you prefer a more scientific way, or a scientific approach, it's the law of resonance. It is what it is. It's not personal. Um, but let's talk about that free will, because, honey, I have definitely dated some men I was not ready to let go of. And free will is truly a wild card in the relationship. It's one of the things I really wish people understood more. And when you understand this, you'll understand why some things are better left apart so that other things, even better things, can come together. You know that saying? When you can absolutely try to hold on to somebody whose frequency no longer matches yours, but it's like trying to hold on to water in your hands. Eventually it slips away, and it's not like what it used to be. Okay. This often causes pain, and quite honestly, a lot of karmic entanglement. So, once you become aware like this and you really get it, you're actually going to understand why holding on to that which no longer serves you is actually better off in the bin or just out in the cosmos. Because karmic stuff, like, especially when it comes to soulmates, like, oh, you're not just dealing with it in this lifetime, you're going to be seeing that person in the next lifetime and the next lifetime, until you really figure out how to untie that entanglement. Anyways, what's what happens more often than not when it comes to situations like these is that you actually have divine interventions. Now, because what you're doing is neither serving their highest purpose or your highest purpose, life supports what supports more life. So, being in a relationship that does not serve or support your highest purpose, honestly, is not something that supports more life, because you should be elevating over here. You, in your elevation process, or in your elevated state of mind and or being and vibration, are actually lifting the energy cause energetically for the collective. When you are lowering your vibration, or you're trying to stay in a space that is no longer aligned for your highest purpose, you're actually lowering the frequency of the collective. Now, this is why healing yourself is the key to healing the world externally. I promise you I'll get off my soap opera, but it's just like, I wish more people truly understood this. Letting go of what no longer serves us can be honestly hard as fuck. I know that, you know that, I'm sure that you have experienced it at some stage of your life. But it's especially hard in relationships if you have already predetermined that this person is the one, or you've told yourself a story that unless this relationship works out, I'm just going to be on my own forever. Or, we just have these thoughts of those beliefs, and we start to create, honestly, a story. We start to create a story. But when you actually understand how the universe works and why it works the way that it does, you'll actually understand that that person was no longer resonating at your frequency. And it's not a bad thing that you want to grow and elevate. It's not a bad thing. Um, what I also want you to know is that if you are going through a breakup, like, even understanding this, at least for me, has been like so transformational. And you end up like getting to this point where you do this internal work, and then, despite the heartache, despite the heartbreak, you can really see and recognize the gratitude that you were able to, have loved. And yes, you loved and lost, but you really can get to this state of mind where you are grateful for those who have come and passed. Like you're grateful for those relationships. And I know that that might be a really hard concept for a lot of people, particularly if you're divorced and it was messy. I know that it might be a really hard pill to swallow, and you might have a story that you will never get there, like over my dead body, as they say. But the truth is that you can, anybody can get there. It's hard, but it's not impossible. And it's, in fact, incredibly freeing, if I'm being completely honest with you. And you want to allow it to free or to be free of it in this lifetime so that you don't have to revisit that person again, especially if you guys have already experienced a divorce. If you know what I'm saying, I would be working on that pain right now so you don't have to remarry that person in another lifetime, and it might not serve you for your highest good. So, now, let's talk about why some exes come back together, because that happens, right? Now, when you're vibrating at different frequencies and you honor the separation for what it is, and you have decided to grow, and the universe has offered them the opportunity to grow with you, and they, for whatever reason, their free will has decided, no, this is not the divine time for me. They're allowed to do that. They're absolutely allowed to do that. Now, for some exes, it's through losing you that they reflect and think it is actually about time that I deal with my issues. They may not actually admit that you were right, but they actually do take, for whatever reason, they take their own path and they figure it out for themselves. Now, this may be with a professional or it could be with another person romantically. Either way, that is truly none of your business. The way that they choose to grow is now none of your business now that you're not in that relationship. And if you're focusing on your ex and you're stewing on that, remember that you are now vibrating at a lower frequency because you haven't let them go. Now, I need you to know that what is meant for you will not pass you. Listen to that again. What is meant for you will not pass you. If it is a divine partnership, it will come back to you not because you forced it, but because you both now resonate at the same frequency. This time when you come together, you'll know it's the right fit because it'll feel more like a dance than a struggle. It will feel like it flows a lot better. And sometimes at the beginning, we go through this honeymoon phase again. How you're going to know that things are really shifted or have changed is because when you start to mirror one another again, you inevitably are going to reflect hidden parts of each other. And that is meant to trigger the other person to grow, yourself included. Now, the difference is how are they and you triggered by those moments where the universe is saying, okay, so and so, this is your partner showing you where it is that you need to grow. Are you ready to listen? Are you ready to evolve? Are you ready to sit in a space of openness, not in a space of fear of judgment or feeling like they're trying to tell you what to do, but actually, can you sit inside that space and recognize that somebody that you love cares so deeply about you that they are trying to express all the ways in which the relationship might go downhill or where they might not be stepping up or where they might be struggling. Now, each partner, yourself included, even when you're expressing and communicating, should be coming from a space of evolution where you've really evolved. And it's a beautiful thing to experience. And I wish this for everybody. That's why I feel like I wish people understood that when you're selecting your life partner or your soulmate, whatever you want to call it, it's truly a sacred process. And it's something that I really think and I really wish that people would give themselves a little bit more time, because what you're asking your soulmate and or life partner to do is something so intimate in nature that it is worth taking a little bit more time so that together when you both mirror and reflect what it is that you don't quite see within yourself, you're selecting somebody who is going to be patient with you as you grow. And that's really important. You're going to want to pick somebody who is going to honor the fact that you are growing and learning and you're trying. And you too are going to be hoping and wishing that that person does the same thing for you when there are parts of you that you are unaware of. Um, and and in so many ways, it's such an honor it's such an honor to share your life with someone as equally as it is an honor for them to share their life with you. And I wish that people really understood the sacred journey of dating and what it means to date, and that dating can be intimate without being physically intimate, but it is actually a sacred it's a sacred process that I think that is really fundamental, that has almost been taken away in the way that our culture is showing up today. And I think that there is a lot of signs that we are shifting that, and that is changing, and we are evolving collectively. But I really feel as though, as it relates to dating, this is such an intimate process that people are overlooking because they're in such a rush to get married or to get to the end result, rather than being so selective and really curating the correct list that they need in a partner to help support them and reflect to them the things that they need to see, feel, and hear in order to be the best version of themselves. So if you find yourself questioning your relationship or wondering why you're attracting certain experiences, I really want you to consider this, that your life is like this beautiful tapestry that's woven with threads of physical and metaphysical nuances, I want to say. And by understanding how they actually intertwine, so you can end up becoming a master weaver of your own destiny. And that's what I really wish that people understood. And that creating relationships and experiences, these are resonating with the deepest part of your soul. And I wish that people understood that you are in so much more control of your journey, of your life than you think. And yes, we're here to learn about relationships. And yes, we're here on a soul level to learn and evolve. But that does not mean that you have to learn through pain all the time. You can learn through pleasure and through love. And I really wish more people understood that. Anyways, if you know somebody that needs to hear this, I'd love for you to send this to them. And I hope that you took a lot away from it. I know that that's a lot to understand and maybe wrap your head around, and you might need to listen to this a couple of times to fully comprehend what I am sharing with you. But honestly, the information in here to me is invaluable. And I hope that that truly connects a lot of the gaps. To help you understand why we let go, what's the importance of it, and how everything is so interconnected and so beautifully interwoven within each other. It's just, yeah, when you really get and understand how the universe, how spirit, and how life works, it's just it's pretty incredible to witness and watch. And I feel very blessed that I am one of the many that understand this. And now hopefully you are too. You have the best day, my love, wherever you are in the world. Bye for now.